I'm Nancy Showalter, and you're listening to Spirituality for the Politically Incorrect podcast. Welcome, all radical paradigm shifters and creative change makers. You who dare to create a better life and a better world. Tap into the power that resides within you and use that power for constructive change. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our episode today as we continue to look at the 7 rays and the 7 masters that embody these rays. We've talked about the different color of rays, and these really represent paths that we walk toward our own Christ mastery, our own personal Christhood and mastery in this lifetime. So there are 7 masters who embody these rays, who actually define the law on that ray. They have mastered it. And even though they are at a level of perfection in vibration, really that level is interpenetrated with the physical vibration. Meaning it's right here with us, but just a different level of frequency. So the Chohans, which is what these lords, it means lords, it's a Sanskrit word. Chohans are the rays. They are very close to us. And we walk under their tutelage, basically, in individual lifetimes as we walk on these rays. So as we talk about these 7 rays and the retreats of the masters on these rays, I think you'll be able to start to see what ray might you be on? What ray might you be working with? Now, obviously, we master a certain level of all the rays, but sometimes we have a major and a minor ray that we might be working on. So it's very interesting. We will look very closely at what we are doing here with the 7 rays. So we're going to begin this week by looking at the first ray, which is the blue ray. And the blue ray is the ray of God's will, God government. It's a power ray. And El Morya is the Chohan of the first ray. Now you may or may not have heard of El Morya. He first appeared in the physical to Madame Blavatsky, back when the Theosophical Society was founded. He was one of the masters that worked with her and has worked with many amanuenses since. Now, El Morya's retreat is the focus of the will of God on the etheric plane, and it's over Darjeeling, India. It overlays that. And El Morya is the chief of the Darjeeling Council, and this Darjeeling Council is a council of ascended masters of the Great White Brotherhood. And they come together for all kinds of different activities. It's really fascinating to see what happens in these retreats. Now, I mentioned before that many of these retreats of the masters are open to us to visit as we sleep in our spiritual body. We travel there. We can learn, be in classes, be trained. We go there to different retreats in between our embodiments, depending on what we are going to be working on in a particular embodiment. Now, El Morya is rather a strict disciplinarian because he is the embodiment of the will of God. And that means that perfect alignment. And this blue ray is the ray of power, of protection. It is the establishment of God government, people who are in leadership positions. Most people serving in the government, say, are usually blue ray kind of people. These people can be very powerful and bring a lot of power to what they're doing. And because they are these leaders in these various areas, then we find they can be maybe more powerful, moving ahead because they really are forging some new thing. So it's very interesting. So El Morya has talked about how one of his chelas or students who visited his retreat at one point, and I'm going to read actually a little quote from him. He says, chelas, or students, who knock on the door at Darjeeling are asked if they understand the urgency of world conditions and the crying need of the hour. If they have not yet gained that perspective, we recommend that they seek the disciplines of another retreat. For here at Darjeeling, we offer a crash program in chelaship and initiation on the path for those who are willing to follow implicitly the demands of their own Christ self and to respond with a flame that leaps and with eyes that sparkle with the kindling fires of soul discernment. We send forth devotees of the Divine Mother. We train emissaries who will represent the Brotherhood and who will go forth into the large cities of the world to teach the way of the sacrifice of the self as St. Francis of old for the greater glory of the Christ in all. And he continues, come then, fear not to approach the fire blazing on the hearth here in the library of our retreat. Come now and meditate upon the flames and see how the fiery salamanders dance to the music to the will of God that is the theme of your soul's reunion with the blueprint of your life, the grand design of destiny. See how the patterns, blue and rose and gold, woven in the oriental rug, recall the tapestry of the mind of God, woven in your soul. And then he says, there be some that come to our retreat for training, but their motives are not pure. They are self-seeking. They want power, not to the glory in God, but for the vain glory of the synthetic self that they refuse to surrender. They're told politely by the gatekeeper that those who enter must leave the slippers of the lesser self at the door. Those who are unwilling to take off the shoes of the shadowed self may not walk upon this hallowed ground. So the retreat is called the Temple of Goodwill, and this is Morya's retreat in Darjeeling. And so there's a description of the Masters and their retreats in the book, The Masters and Their Retreats by Mark and Elizabeth Prophet. So the Temple of Goodwill is described as a glistening white building in Moorish architecture. And it's in a square form shape, and it has minarets at the four corners and a large central flame-shaped dome, And the walls are thick as a medieval castle. The apertures are also flame or dome-shaped. And there are four floors, as it's described of the retreat. So on the first floor, you have the main auditorium. And this retreat is considered the headquarters of the inner world government. So you can see basically what the work of this retreat is. And in this main auditorium, there are adjoining council rooms, and the brothers in this retreat, in their royal blue robes, they have somewhat of an oriental design and very beautiful blue, bright blue colors. And adjoining the main auditorium, you have public servants and world and community leaders and holders of public office. They come there to be schooled between their embodiments. And also, as we already mentioned, their finer bodies drink sleep. Now, all people and souls that serve on the first ray come to this retreat at one point or another in their embodiments. Now, you may not remember this particular experience as you go in your finer body at night, but sometimes you definitely do remember, and you can ask to be taken to the retreat before you go to sleep at night, ask Archangel Michael to escort you to the Temple of Goodwill at Darjeeling, India. And you can also ask to remember the experience. And sometimes you don't remember all the details, but with practice, you definitely can. But you may remember the feeling. You may have a dream that could be symbolic of what you experienced. So there's lots of ways that you experience a retreat and bring it back to your conscious mind. On the second floor of the retreat is where we see the private quarters for Master Morya, where he has his study and he has libraries and formal meeting rooms for members of the Darjeeling Council. And then there's another great hall that's fully equipped to accommodate several hundred ascended and unascended masters who meet frequently to discuss international problems and the means to their solution. Now, in each of the retreats, there is a flame that doesn't go out, doesn't need to be fed. It's called the unfed flame. And so we have the flame of the will of God in this particular retreat on this third floor. So it reminds you of, the eternal flames that we have going here on earth, although these are not fed by anything. They are the living, vital flame that nourishes us here on the planet. So in this particular retreat, the flame of the will of God is adorned in the center of a room, and it has like an inlaid design and a cosmic pattern in mosaic, and it's actually a focus of like divine geometry. El Morya's retreat is very precise, very detailed, very crisp and powerful. There's a very interesting story told about El Morya and his retreat. And there are a lot of lessons that we learn on the path of initiation. And they really begin even at the very door of Morya's retreat in Darjeeling. He's a stern guru, once again, but he has this interesting sense of humor. So when you approach his retreat, he keeps a very gruff chela, a very gruff-looking being at the entrance. And the gatekeeper really has no appearance whatsoever of mastery or being, you think of an ascended master or whatever, or even being worthy to be at this master's gate. It's kind of strange. So he speaks gruffly. He's not dressed well at all. And Morya says, if those who knock at the door of the retreat have disdain for the gatekeeper, then the master determines that they are not worthy to be received at his retreat. So it's teaching us that we do not judge, we do not feel disdain for those that we think are lesser than us. And it's a great lesson and understanding the consciousness of El Morya. And we can see in our current situation in the United States now, and even around the world, but very much focused in the United States, of judging harshly, disdain for people that we think maybe are lower than us, or just a lot of anger, a lot of that energy right now. So we understand that this is a requirement of the very first ray of the will of God, to be a powerful being, but yet you do not look down. You're no better than anyone else. You're no less than anyone else. So it's a very good lesson. So this is the ray of the will of God. El Morya is the Chohan. It is blue frequency color. Archangel Michael also serves on this ray as protection. He is the archangel with his legions of light that does and can protect us, but we do need to invoke this protection. And you invoke the protection, it could be verbally, which is powerful in the physical dimension, it could be mentally. Calling to Archangel Michael, invoking the will of God, so that you can align with your own I am presence and you can outpicture your divine plan. You know what your service is, and serving on the blue ray is usually a leadership role, as I've already said. And so it's important to understand the blue ray. There's a simple mantra to Archangel Michael that we use. You can use this at any time when you get in a vehicle, public or your own private vehicle, your own car, to a very simple mantra. Lord Michael before, Lord Michael behind, Lord Michael to the right, Lord Michael to the left, Lord Michael above, Lord Michael below, Lord Michael, wherever I go. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. I am his love protecting here. And you think of when you say I am, remember it's God in me is. You are focusing your I am presence that's anchored within your heart. And when you say I am his love protecting here, then you can actually visualize this blue fire, blue energy expanding from your heart to encompass wherever you are. Encompass your home, your entire property, your vehicle, your place of work, your family, whatever. You are the focus of Archangel Michael in the physical when you're calling forth, and you are, by saying, I am his love protecting here, you're expanding your heart flame. So you can visualize all of this and feel this protection and power. You can call to beloved El Morya, who is the Chohan of the power ray. You can invoke his presence, his alignment with the holy will of God. You can invoke his power to seal you, to guide, perfect your way, clear the way, and ask to be in the alignment with the holy will of God. Meaning, what is your purpose, your alignment with your I am presence, so that you are manifesting in the physical world that will of God, which is your higher self, for you in this lifetime. So simple mantras, simple decrees and mantras that you can give. You know, I am the blue fire of Almighty God. I am protection of this property, of this home, of my family. And you can invoke these beings. And as far as visiting the retreats, once again, before you go to sleep at night, you simply make the request. Ask Archangel Michael, ask the legions of light, El Morya's legions. All of these masters have legions and legions, just like Jesus said, I have legions of angels that I can command. So you call for those angels to take you to the retreat. So do an experiment this week. Every night when you go to sleep, ask to be taken to El Morya's retreat in Darjeeling, and go with an open heart and an open mind and see what you experience. Just try it for 7 nights, and I'll see you next week. So in the meantime, you will be able to visit a retreat of the Ascended Masters if you've never done that before. So see you next week. Until then, keep an open mind, a generous heart, and a powerful spirit. Thank you for being with me today, and if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, download, and comment. I'd love to hear from you, and your support is much appreciated. And don't forget, go to nancyshowalter.com to get your free electronic copy of my book, It's Okay to Be Rich, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Increased Wealth and Personal Mastery, endorsed by T. Harv Eker, and my free mini course, How to Speak Your Success, the shocking truth of how your words impact achieving your goals. I'll see you next week.